Eco World. Oh, people, what a shame. Why are you so harsh and cruel? You always speak, write, and even sing about the vital connection between human and nature. However, you always cut, trim, and destroy with no mercy. What a shame. You don't even trim your hair in a harsh way like this. The way you humans treat the nature is just too cruel. What if you anger the Father Sky and exhaust Mother Land? In return for your harsh treatment of Mother Nature, the root of all living being, all the livestock food would perish from this planet. At that time, gold would be worthless and begging for forgiveness would be useless. You humans have the consciousness that differentiates you from animals. Don't you have the heart and the compassion for Mother Nature? If the Earth could speak, it would express its frustration like this. How much land and forests are burning down into ashes as a result of someone's single careless action? Just this spring alone, there were 60 wildfires in 44 sums of 16 provinces, which caused damages to the environment at unmeasurable levels. People, are you going to keep cutting them down and burning them into ashes? The environment is deteriorating and degrading as our industrial development rises. We are losing our connection with the nature as we dig into our Mother Earth's womb. Despite being late, mankind realized the matter and has begun to work towards restoration of nature bit by bit. However, growing a tree is several times more difficult than cutting it down, as well as restoring the stream of a river is much more difficult than draining it. The restoration, afforestation, and watering we are doing is little as a nail on a finger compared to the destruction we've done. Today, there are 167 timber farms operating in Mongolia, and they prepare the seedlings for reforestation and restore destroyed forests. With the exception of small groves and gardens of residential houses, the current annual capacity is at 30 million seedlings for 10,000 hectares of area. But how much area was destroyed, and how many forests were burned down? The planet is deteriorating, and this alarming feeling is irritating everyone's heart. Due to this feeling, everyone now has unified understanding that even though you're not contributing to the restoration of nature, at least you have to care for the environment. At least if we can make the smoky capital city Ulaanbaatar green, this would completely reduce the high air pollution and the environmental contamination. The most important part is to dedicate yourself fully to this goal. We visited Tugul Timber Farm, located in the suburb part of the city, where they grow trees and spread the green. In the past 2-3 years, people have been growing trees a lot. People grew interest in building a small tree garden around their residential area. So people come here to purchase fruit trees and other decorational flowering trees. Groves in Tugul are spreading their small branches in the spring sun, just like a little baby's cute hands. In Tugul, we met with the famous author Galsan Tschinag and his German friends while they were starting an interesting project. It was an experiment that incorporated Mongolian traditional prayer into recent scientific inventions, and its purpose was to maintain the natural balance. We're all familiar with the author, Galsan Tschinag, as we've all read his books before. Someone told me that he was planning to plant 1 million trees. Initially, I didn't believe it and didn't think much of it. After 3 years from then, he came to me. But when I actually observed his work, I realized that he truly wanted to plant the trees. That's why I'm very interested in supplying regrowth to him. He does not give them to anyone who asked for it. He thoroughly asks, where are you planting the trees? Did you prepare the planting hole? Did you prepare the soil? After he checks all these points, he gives the trees to them. And then, when they plant the trees, he and his colleagues work with them to provide support. And also, they check their maintenance of the trees. He gives away the trees for free. But these trees were purchased from me. I grew these trees, so the trees have cost of labor. These are products produced by me. But he actually gives them for free, and even though they were given out without any price, he always cares after them. He truly goes out of his way to let these trees live and grow. So beautiful. Everything surrounds us. The sky, the soil, these are all alive. That's why, just like us humans, the environment also needs proper conditions and chances to live and prosper. If we look at it from a religious aspect, even when the environment loses its proper conditions, it gets irritated and sick, just like humans. Scientists have proved that the concept of Mongolian traditional shamanism and prayers correspond to some of the recent scientific inventions. Mongolia used to be full of repressed people, but nowadays it has plenty of patriots. Lots of people pretend to be patriots and try to make some money. I also consider myself a patriot, but I want to be a patriot from a different angle. I promise to plant 3 million trees in my country, Mongolia, with my own funding. Now I believe the best thing I can do is to bring the rain that went away. This is a goal I thought about during daytime and dreamed about it at night for many years. With my efforts, I prepared, collected, and brought all the materials and documents that I needed for it. Now I invited the experts for my project. We all know that the nature has been treating us not quite well in the past few years. Galsan did not ask the government for any money or funding. Only his years of experience with foreign experts was all he needed. This year, he invited his German colleagues and even brought equipment from Germany to treat the atmosphere. Galsan emphasized that this is all directly related to the improper treatment of nature. Therefore, we can clearly see that nature is alive, which our ancestors realized a long time ago, and treated it as humanely as possible, and even worshipped it like a god. Mongolians have the tradition that closely relates to the nature. Just like we're able to see the compassion in animals, our people have the ability to comfort the Father Sky and bring the rain which would quench all living things in the environment. In order to protect Mongolian land and soil that have been destroyed, Galsan and his colleagues specifically chose the Tugul area and placed their acupuncture needle to the sky there. This will absorb all the bad energy in the atmosphere and send it away with wind so the clouds can form. Once clouds form, rain comes afterwards. This method is identical to our ancestry's rain-making ritual. With this method, Galsan's colleague, Madjid, successfully made the Sahara Desert green. I'm from Algeria, and I worked in the Sahara Desert. I always try to do good deeds in the places I visit. I met Galsan in Germany several years ago. Ever since I met him, I always wanted to come to your country and do good deeds. Now, I have the chance, and I've arrived here. When I look at these trees, I see that there's almost a microenvironment formed. If the trees are accumulated and watered properly, there's a complete chance to form microenvironments here. The method we're experimenting right now was invented as a theory 100 years ago by a European scientist named Wilhelm Reich. Because of his invention, he even lost his life. Churches, religious organizations, and even the government accused him of doing something against them. They suspended his experiments and questioned him. There's no way that a man can affect the sky. However, after many resistances, Wilhelm Reich's experiment finally proved that the humans can affect the sky. This method is identical to the traditional acupuncture treatment of a person, which heals someone by inserting needles on nerve points. As a result of all the careless acts of people and city smoke, the sky must be tired and sick. This morning, I observed the sky and the clouds. I realized that the sky and the environment is very tired. I'm glad I came. I thought to myself, I must help. It's fortunate that your country has a wise-minded person like Galsan. I'm confident that with your cooperation, we can bring rain to your country. 6,000 years ago, Sahara was a green land. There were many forests, along with plenty of rivers and lakes. But due to climate changes, it became the hottest desert on the planet around 2,700 years ago. Many scientists are still studying the cause of it. But thanks to the efforts of many years from this Algerian person named Madjid, the Sahara Desert now grows a variety of fruits and vegetables. There's been a rumor for many years that the world was going to end on 2012-12-21. I believe it was discussed for the past 10 years. For the past few years, everyone probably noticed that the nature and climate have not been the same anymore and have been changing. This doesn't mean that the world is going to end. I personally believe that this is a sign that an era has passed and that a new era is beginning. Even if the world was going to end, mankind must fight against it. It's been very difficult around the world these days. What's been happening around us? At one place there's a huge flood, and at another place there's severe drought. This is a sign of natural imbalance. I must fight against it. This is what I aimed and worked for during the past 2 decades. Our wise ancestors had a rain-making ritual, and it actually brought rain and even stopped rain. But all this knowledge was lost during time. Now we need to restore this ritual and connect it with modern sciences. My main purpose is to have religion and science to go along in the same direction. These greedy foreigners who are only interested in Mongolian mineral resources, the only thing they want to do is dig through the womb of our land and get the gold, but they have no thought to restore it to its natural state. There are many better things to do in order to develop our country instead of just digging through our land. It's only up to our decision-making governing authorities to decide which ones to support and which ones to limit. If only the government supports eco-friendly and hardworking people like Galsan and call for the public to be the same, I believe it wouldn't take long for Mongolia to become green. Only true patriotism is lacking. Several centuries ago, our ancestors taught us to love and care for our environment as human beings and to maintain the land and pasture as clean, rich, and beautiful as it originally was. There's a saying that if you plant 1 tree, it's a good deed for your whole life. If you plant 2 trees, it's a good deed for your afterlife. If you plant 3 trees, it's a good deed for your 3 generations. The saying has been handed down to us from our ancestors. People, let's love and care for our blue planet and the land we're living on. It will be left for our future generations. Blue sky, please forgive us.